So we've been telling this story in a lot of different ways, haven't we? We say, you are much more than you know in these physical bodies, and that non-physical part of you remains non-physical even though a part of you is focused here. And while you're focused here, you're sifting and sorting and knowing what you don't want and knowing what you do want, and every time you define something that you do want, even in the throes of knowing dramatically what you don't want, in other words, you never know more clearly what you do want than when you're living what you don't want. So as you're exploring that buffet and knowing what you don't want, you're sending out a powerful rocket of desire that speaks with great specifics about what you do want. And that rocket of desire is known and held by the larger part of you as a vibrational touchstone, as a place marker, as a placeholder, as a space holder. In other words, once you expand, the source within you takes the expansion and holds it steadily for you and beams it back as a signal that you can feel in every moment. So once you've asked for something, vibrationally speaking, it is done because the larger part of you is already living it. And that's why when you focus in opposition to it, you feel lonely, fearful, worried, because you are in that moment of your physical discomfort, depriving yourself of the vibrational alignment with something that you ask for, and more important, something that you largely are. So when you start saying, oh, these bumps along the road that I'm feeling matter, when I feel negative emotion, it matters, it's an indication to me that I could focus myself into alignment if I cared about alignment. Do you? Do you care about alignment? Do you care about your clarity? Do you care about this moment in time being all that it can be? There have been many teachers that have been talking about being present in the moment. It was the thing that Jerry was most excited about as he was reading the Seth material. Two things. You create your own reality. He said, huh? How can that be? I create my own reality I want to know more about. So we spent many, many years talking about that. Your point of power is in the present, Seth said. Jerry wanted to know about that. What does that mean? And what it means is, here you are, right here and now, with the ability to focus. And when you do, one of two things is happening, and not much gray area in between, really. In your focus, you're focusing in a way that includes the whole of you, or you're focusing in a way that excludes. I thought you said that there was no exclusion in this universe. I thought you said that it was all about attraction. Well, it's all about choosing a frequency that will bring something to you. In other words, if you are including who you are, then you are leaving out who you aren't. And if you are including who you aren't, then you're leaving out who you are. In other words, you get to be the vibrational chooser of what you set as your vibrational tone, which then law of attraction responds to, which equals the life experience of this moment in time. You got that, didn't you? It's really fun talking with you, because we can feel that even though we are out here in a new leading edge place, that there's enough that you're hearing that is familiar to you, that even though we're reaching into these new places, you're coming right along easily, because you're tuned into who you are. And when you're tuned into who you are, all of this makes perfect logical sense, doesn't it? You know that you are the creator of your own reality. You know that you are. You know that you are. Do you believe that you are a good focuser? Do you want to be a good focuser? So which of those thoughts was a better thought for you to focus on? I am, or I would like to be. Now, if you already are, and you know it, then I am is the better thought for you. It's specific enough. Say that in a different way. It's specific, but you are aligned enough to keep up with it. But if it was more specific than you're ready for, what does it do to you? It enhances doubt rather than belief, doesn't it? So this is the process of bringing yourself into alignment with who you are. You're reaching for the thought of greatest alignment to which you have access right now. Another way of saying that is, you want to find the best feeling thought that you can find and practice it long enough that you learn the steady vibrational grid of that. So let's say you start with something really general, and it feels pretty good because you've stayed in a nice, safe, easy to feel good place. And you focus there, and then law of attraction brings you more things like it until something comes that challenges that belief. What happens to your emotion when something comes that challenges your belief? You feel those bumps on the side of the road. You feel some wariness. You feel some concern. You feel some doubt. You feel some guilt. You feel some self-criticism. You feel something that doesn't feel so good. So then what do you do? What would be the wise thing to do? Do you plow ahead? Do you dig in? Do you condemn your stupidity and make it happen anyway? Do you wrestle it to the ground? Do you try to make them behave even though they clearly have no intention of doing so? Or do you step back into the place as quickly as you can that felt good right before it didn't feel good? Doesn't that seem logical? Now, you could change the subject altogether and you'd feel a little better, but you have to remember you're leaving your grid on every subject right where you last left it. So every time you reintroduce the subject and you take it to a little better feeling place, what you do is you open to more specifics on that subject. And the more specifics you open to, the more powerful your creation. But even more than that, the more specifics you open to while you're in alignment, the more powerful and worthy and loved and blessed you feel. And friends, we've been watching you for a long time, and that's what you're going for. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for it in all the wrong places. You're looking for it with other people. You want their approval. If I can just get this person to appreciate and approve of me, then I can just observe their appreciation and I'm good. As long as they're standing right there approving, but they could go away. And then what? Then you'll spend the next 10 or 15 years condemning them for leaving. Or you could realize that the reason you feel good, the only reason you feel good, the always reason you feel good is because you've found some thought that is in alignment with the greater part of who you are. We are eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. There is nothing that is off limits. There will be a perfect unfolding. You will see how it goes. There are many of you here with things on your mind and people all around the world who are listening in, and not just listening in, but participating vibrationally. You're going to see too that much that you've been thinking about is conversation of this gathering. And for us, we want to say to you that there is no place that we would rather be than present in your moment with all the specifics that you've stirred up that have led to culminations that we have realized and are holding the place marker of, watching you come into alignment with your creation. That rings our bells. So what do you want to talk about? You've come with stuff. So we're going to talk today about anything that is important to you. But we want to help you to establish in your own awareness this sense of this grid. We want you to acknowledge that there is a vibrational basis for that which you are. And it's not only the basis of who you were before you were born. Oh, that's a good basis. But that basis has expanded tremendously since you've been here in this physical body. Because you have been living life and knowing that you don't want to be rude, that you want to be an uplifter. Knowing that you don't want to be confused, that you want to have clarity. Knowing that you don't want instability, that you want stability. Knowing that you don't want poverty, that you want prosperity. Knowing that you don't want to be bored, you want to be interested. Knowing, you've carved out this beingness that stands always offering the signal to let you know where you stand in relationship to that. And that's the grid, really, that we want you to know that you've carved out. It's this being, this central being. It's the being who loves no matter what, who understands no matter what, who accepts diversity no matter what, who appreciates no matter what. It's the core of who you are. It's the being who feels self-appreciation no matter what, who feels appreciation for others no matter what. Now we know that's an interesting concept, that someone could be so oblivious to what's really going on. that they would just stand in a place of pure positive energy. But it's not an oblivious stance. It's a carefully honed, carefully crafted over many, many, many life experiences. It's a stance of becoming. It's who you really are, you see. So, the grid is the basis of who you are. And when you find a way to line up with that, then all of the things that you've been putting into this vortex that are right now vibrational versions of what you want, as far as you are concerned, far less satisfying than the manifested versions. A vibrational version, blah, blah, blah. Virtual money, whoop-de-doo. A virtual lover, well, good for them. I want the manifestation of that, Abraham. And we say the manifestation must follow. The manifestation must be allowed by you. But you got to figure out what's the vibrational consistency of that, and you have to find the vibrational grid that allows it to flow. So here's the picture we would like you to see. So you were source energy before you came into this physical body. You've heard this so many times you could speak it as well as we do. Source energy before you came into this body. A part of you came into this physical body. And as you came into this physical body, you are exploring like leading edge pioneers. While the source of you remains in this steady, solid, always pure positive energy vibration. Always loving, you might not. Always worthy, you might not feel like you are. In other words, this secure being, you might not be, but it still remains there. So you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And every time that happens, which is all day, every day, and has been from the moment that you set foot into this foot, you send these rockets of desire, and your becoming happens. And we've been calling this your vortex. Now, you've been listening to us for a while. We've been saying, you want to get in your vortex. You want to get in your vortex. That was our way of saying, you want to get up to speed with what is in your vortex. You want to achieve a vibrational stance that allows the vortex, law of attraction, to bring you in where all that you are and all that you want is. Today, we are giving you a slightly different way of looking at this, because we want you to understand that as you stand here in your powerful moment of attention, that you are generating a vibration, and when it is in sync, Esther has been trying to find a visual as she hears us explaining and feels us explaining this to you. And the visual that she has is that beaming up from the very core of that which she is, you are, is this bright beam of vibration. And when she stands in it, she can feel the clarity of it. She knows that that's what she's doing when she's allowing Abraham to flow through. Standing over there in it, it bees so dominant that she bees compliant with it. So here is this energy, this vibration, this core beingness beaming up. And here you are somewhere in the vicinity of it. Maybe over here ornery about something. Maybe over here frightened about something. Maybe standing right in it in appreciation or love of something. But you get to choose. You get to allow or disallow your relationship with this grid. So that's pretty easy to understand, isn't it? It's pretty easy to understand your relationship with the vortex or your relationship with the grid. Conceptually, not hard to get your thoughts around that, is it? But now, how does the rest of the world fit in with your grid? Well, let's say that you are in vibrational alignment with who you are, and you are beaming a powerful signal. That means that anyone who's moving around in your vicinity, who's of the same vibrational frequency or nature, can't you just see those grids clicking together? Boom, 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 boom. So that there's this synergy, there's this energy, there's this co-creative enthusiasm that happens with grids like yours lining up, because law of attraction just locks them into place. Of course, you could have gotten up on the wrong side of the bed. You could be an ornery toad for the 5th day in a row. You might not be anywhere near your own core, your own vortex, your own natural source grid. You got something else going on out here. Well, guess what's happening? Those grids are lining up too. Coming into place. All those ornery people coming to you, or all those fearful people coming to you. In other words, all around you, you have the potential of aligning with your true power. Now, you've heard us say, we know you have.